Hello everyone, it's Carrie at Inky Bee Journals and Ephemera. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So today we are continuing on with the Shabby Pink Roses journal and we are up to part 6, and today we are going to be adding lace and paper doily pockets. Now, if you haven't seen parts 1 through to parts 5 so far, I will put a link in the description box all the way down the bottom for a playlist titled Junk Journal Tutorials, where you will find all the parts to this journal and other journals that I've done in the past and that I will do in the future. You will find all the parts to those journals in that playlist, Junk Journal Tutorials. You will also find today's video and other videos to do with ephemera making, ephemera holders and even embellishments in another playlist titled Ephemera Ideas, which I will also link in the description box below for you if you'd like to check those out. So today, as I said, we are adding lace and paper doily pockets. So I've just got some crochet type lace here. This is like a cotton version of a crochet type lace. And I have some doilies which I have already cut out and inked around the edges just to save on some recording time and to save boring you with too much in the way of repetitive action. So I've done a little bit ahead of time, and all we're doing is folding those a little under halfway and turning those into a pocket and gluing them in. So I will be using some scissors, which I am using to cut my lace with, and I am inking with some Distress Oxide made by Tim Holtz Ranger. This is in the colour Victorian Velvet, but you don't have to ink, and if you are, you don't have to use this ink or this colour. And I'm just going to use some Fabri-Tac or some type of fabric glue to attach the lace to the pages, and I can also use it to attach these paper doilies to the pages because it will stick paper as well without causing it to wrinkle or tear or buckle or anything like that. And I will probably use my ergonomic bone folder, and I will put a link in the description box for as many of these things as I can get links for. I may not have a link for this this lace specifically, but anywhere where you can buy a variety of craft supplies, particularly in websites or stores that sell sewing supplies, you should be able to find some type of lace that would be suitable for this type of thing that we're doing today. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So I've already done some work ahead of time. As you can see, I've got lace on the edges of all the pages here on 3 of my 4 signatures. So I still have 1 to go, but I have done these 3. It does give a much thicker appearance to them when you stack them together. But if you do find when you're putting your signatures together that you have a little bit of an uneven edge on one side, which tends to be something that happens, you can cut them flush, but another way you can kind of disguise it is by adding some trims and things to the edges, because it just disguises the fact that it's not exactly the same all the way through. So we'll finish putting the lace edges on these pages, and here is where I would be putting one of these. And I've just got a paper clip here. I've taken this one out of the first one, I think. I think. Yes. So I've just used a paper clip to indicate where that would be going, but we're just basically just going to be gluing that down to the page with a bit of glue at the bottom of the page. We're gluing all over the back here, and it creates like a little tuck that sits in there. And by gluing on the back here instead of just gluing all over the back, instead of just having a cut off piece and gluing it straight down along this bottom edge, you're actually creating a little bit more space in here for things to go in. So that's why I'm doing it that way. So the first thing we'll do is we'll complete putting the lace trim on these pages. So basically what I've done is I've put trim on every second page, including the front cover and the back cover of each of these signatures. So I'm just going to unravel some of my lace. Now you don't have to use this sort of lace, you can use any type of lace that you like. If you don't even want to use lace, but you like the look of some type of ribbon, or maybe a nice little ruffle or something made out of ribbon, or made out of even fabric scraps, then you can certainly use that. This is just something that I always have on hand, so I'm just going to be gluing them down to the edges of the pages, sticking over the edge just a little bit, and it will just dress up the edges. So we'll do that. I'm just going to grab myself a glue page. This is just a scrap piece of paper, and I'm just going to place that underneath the page that I'm going to glue on, and I'm going to grab my glue. Now I do find this little fine point a little bit difficult with this glue sometimes, so I'm just going to take that little cap off, and I'm just going to take out my little pin, because this is a little this little pin is a stainless steel pin, so it's not quite the same as your average sewing pins I should say, because if you're not aware of it, sewing pins that are not stainless steel in glue that happens to have a water content in it will rust. I can absolutely guarantee you it will rust, and it will end up getting into your glue, and you don't want that. So if you can, get yourself some of these stainless steel pins, which I will put a link in the description box below for you. I don't have a link for the fabric glue that I'm using, but I will find a fabric glue that you can use, and I will give you a link for these stainless steel pins as well if you are interested. So all we're going to do with these is I'm just going to take my pin out, give it a quick wipe with a baby wipe, and sit that aside well away from my project. And I'm just going to run some glue down the side of this page here, and I find 2 rows, 2 thin rows if you can, should be enough. And if you can remember, try to put the pin back in your glue, or the lid back on your glue as soon as you can, because you don't want your glue drying out too quickly and clogging up your spout. So I'm just going to lay my lace down just like that, all along the edge. Now if you have one, I have this little silicone spatula. Now you can get these at craft stores and online. I will try to link one of these in the description box below for you if you are interested. It just helps you to do little jobs like this without causing too much in the way of mess all over your fingers. And then I'm just going to get a pair of scissors, something that you don't mind getting a little bit of glue on, because you can always clean them with a little bit of eucalyptus oil or something like that. But something that you don't mind getting a little bit gluey, and something that can cut through your ribbon or your lace or material nice without causing any tears. So there we have one done, and see it's just poking over the edge just a little bit. So we've done one, and then I'm going to skip the next page, or it's the first page, because we put that first piece on the cover. So we can open that, we can skip this next piece, and then we can put one on this piece here. So we'll flip that envelope piece over, and we'll put the glue page in underneath the next piece, and we can repeat this process. So I hope everybody is doing well. We've had quite the wet weather here today and yesterday. Well, not as much today as we did have yesterday. We had quite a horrible day yesterday. Lots of strong wind, gale force winds. And my phone was going off a bit crazy with all these notifications warning me of these winds. So, yeah, it's been a bit rough in my area, but that's okay. We've survived. Okay. But there has been warnings, notifications for flooding, and I dare say some people have had some damage to their property. It's always unfortunate to hear these things, so I am always very grateful that I don't have flooding issues. I did have flooding issues in my last property, and it was sheer luck that I didn't really lose anything of great importance. I had some things in my garage that did need to be disposed of because they were damaged by the water that came in. The drainage area wasn't the best, and as a result it caused some cardboard things that I had out there to warp and become unusable. But for the most part things survived. And that was when we had our freak El Nino storm, which brought down hail that was the size of golf balls, or bigger than golf balls. And where I live here in Australia, we are not used to those size hailstones. We don't get snow, and for us to get that kind of storm was just crazy. My car did get a little bit of damage, some dents from the hail, but thankfully no major damage, because I know there was a lot of people in town that had their cars written off because they had such damage to their cars that they were not really safe to drive. They have broken windows and damage to their lights and things like that, which is unfortunate for them. But thankfully there was nobody with any injuries, which was even better, because nobody wants to sustain injuries from anything horrible like that. Okay, so there's another one done. So we'll skip this page and we'll do the next one. And my mum has completed her move into my house. If you've been watching me for a while, you will know that I had my mum move in with me recently so that I can become her carer. And about a week ago, maybe not quite a week ago, we had some men come to our door to do a electrical and gas safety check. And this is a standard thing that we have done each year, because as part of our agreement with our landlord and the real estate, we are entitled to have a safety check done every 12 months. And so the real estate had organised for us to have our safety check done. And it wasn't until after they left the next day I went out to my garage to bring in some things from the fridge and freezer that we have out there, and I discovered that one of those men had unplugged the fridge, freezer and the dryer and left them unplugged, and it was over 24 hours before I realised. And so everything in the fridge and the freezer had to be disposed of because it had been left out of the cold environment that it should have been in for too long, far too long. And therefore we lost all of the food that we had out there. And we'd done some cooking in the last week or so prior to this, and had, you know, some homemade TV dinners, as you might call them, quick ready meals, frozen out there, and you know, all of our regular sort of fridge foods out there, and we lost all of it. All of it gone. So my mum wasn't too pleased, and I wasn't too pleased, and we rang the real estate and explained to them what happened. And yeah, so we are in the process of making a list of what we lost and what it cost, to work out roughly, you know, how many dollars of worth of food that we've lost. And we are going to be writing a formal letter of complaint to the company that was sent out. It's not the real estate's fault, they were just following the regular rules, but yeah, these guys just, you know, weren't thinking about what they were doing, and I realise everybody makes mistakes, but I hear that it is quite a common occurrence for this sort of thing to happen, and which is disappointing, but that's what happens. And so we may hopefully get some kind of reimbursement from the company that are responsible. They might, I don't know whether they'll give us a voucher or something, or they might just give us a letter of apology. I'm not too sure, we'll have to find out. But you know, we can't really afford to be throwing food away like that, so yeah, we probably had about $100 worth of food just have to be disposed of, which is disappointing, but I am grateful that we were able to go grocery shopping the next day and get some more food. And though it's very disappointing, we are grateful that we have food every day, because we know that there are lots of people out there that don't get to have food every day. There are many people in poverty out there, which is very sad, and I do try to help those who are in those sorts of unfortunate situations. And we have to be mindful of, you know, people have many things going on in life, and sometimes we make mistakes, so we can be mindful of that, but people also need to be held accountable for things that go wrong in their businesses. And yeah, so that's just the experience that we had in the last week or so. Lace is tangling up here. Okay, so this page, and we'll do this page. So my dad has finally been able to buy the house in my town that he was looking at, and he's done all the official paperwork and whatnot now, I think. So I think the 23rd of August is his settlement date, so he has a removalist all organised for soon, around after that day, or soon close to that date. And he's got about an hour's drive between where he is now and where he's moving to. So we'll skip this page and we'll do this page, but we're just going to move this out the way for just a moment. So my dad's been busy packing all of his stuff, doing his best to keep from going crazy with everything going on, because it's always such a big job when you're moving house, packing everything up and getting organised, but when you have to do it all by yourself, it seems like a lot of work to do. But unfortunately my dad's coming from another state, so I can't just be zipping over there to help him do a lot of that packing. So but once he gets here, I can help him in all sorts of other ways. My dad wants me to help him learn how to do some cooking, because my dad's not much of a cooking man. But he's slowly gaining some confidence in making a few simple things. So we'll just pop that back in there for a moment. And we'll flip this pocket over. And we'll skip that page and we'll do this page. Now we do have this pocket here, but that's okay, because we can still put lace down the side of that pocket. So how many times have you had to move house? I've lost track how many times I've moved. I think I moved about 3 or 4 times when I was a kid, and I've probably moved maybe about 4 times since I've been an adult. And sometime down the track I will be moving in with my dad, but that will be after my mum's passed or gone into care. And then I'll look after Dad, and then I will be taking over, or inheriting I should say, his house, and then I won't have to worry about being on the public rental market anymore. Public rental housing, I should say, because it's not easy, I should say, getting rental properties here. We do have a housing crisis in this country, and it is difficult for anybody to get housing. So it relieves my mind a little bit to know that I can eventually move into my dad's house and not have to worry about that anymore. But I often do worry about those who are struggling to have somewhere to call home. It must be terribly worrying for them. So I always do my best to try and help support charities that support those in need, with food hampers and monetary support whenever I've had extra things in my garden, food wise, extra vegetables and things that I've got more than what I need, I always donate it to the local salvos so that they can give it out to those in need. Okay, so that's all of my lace work done. So we can remove the glue paper. And it's not all 100% level, but that's okay. That's what helps disguise that the pages aren't 100% even as well. And when we put them all together like this, you really wouldn't know. So the next thing we're going to do, excuse me, the next thing we're going to do is work on one signature at a time, and we're going to add in our faux doilies. Now these come as a digital. I will put a link in the description box below for the ephemera page that I got these from. They are created by Blossom Paper Art, and I will put a link in the description box for their Etsy store. All I've done is cut these out, and I've just used some ink to go around all of the edges, and then I've folded it just below halfway, so it's not straight through the middle. You can fold it through the middle if you want to, but I just wanted a little bit more height here, so I didn't fold it all the way to the center. And I've simply just put it like this, folded it to where I wanted it, and then used my bone folder to burnish down that crease line. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue it down to the page here, and then this becomes a tuck spot like that. Now you can put a large tag of sorts in there, or a journaling page or a journaling card or something like that, so you won't just have a blank space here continuously. So I'm just going to turn this over to the back side. We can use the fabric glue again, and I'm just going to glue all over that back. And I'm just going to place that down towards the bottom edge. I'll keep it up off the bottom edge just a tiny little bit, and I'm just going to press that down, and I'm just going to pull that down for a moment, and I'm just going to use my bone folder just to help reinforce that glue down. Now you could print on the back of here if you want to, and use it as a tuck spot, use it as a writing spot. I am just going to leave it up like this, and I will just tuck something in there. But what I might do is I'm going to clean off the tip of my glue for a moment. And what I might do is just glue very slightly through this crease line, and just glue that down, and that will just help things to stay stationary where I want it. And I'm just going to burnish that down. Okay, so it's not going to fold down so much, and that means this can sit down in here. When it's dried enough, it can sit down in there and it's not really going to go anywhere. You can, if you want to, fill these areas in. I'm not really going to do that because I don't know what size thing I'm going to put in there, and if I want to, I can just put a little clip to the side to hold something in if I wanted to do that. Or I could put something this way if it was small enough. Not as something that's not quite as wide as the page or wider than the page. I can put something in that way if I want to. Okay. I'm just going to put the pin back in my bottle, and I'm going to flip to the other end, and I'm going to find the other one, which is just here. And again, I'm just going to put glue on the back. The pin back in my glue and glue this down just above the edge of the page. And burnish that down with my bone folder. And I'm just going to run a bead of glue right through that fold line on the inside, and then glue that down. Burnish that down with the bone folder, and we're done with this signature for now. So we'll move to signature number 2, and we will repeat this process. So here's another one. Some through there, burnish that down as well. Now if you hear a whirring sound in the background, I do apologise. I do have the air conditioner going in the room. We still have winter here in Australia, and as I mentioned before, we are having some rather cold, wet weather. So I need the air conditioner on to keep the room warm. Glue that down there. Oops. Burnish that down with the bone folder, and then just run a little bit of glue through the center fold line is, and then burnish that down. that's signature number 2 done. So signature number 3. Finish that down with the bone folder. Run a bit of glue through the center of that fold line. Go over that with the bone folder. Find the other doily at the other end of the journal, the other end of the signature, I should say. Run a bit of glue over the back. Glue that down, remembering not to put it all the way to the very bottom of the page. And the reason I do that is basically just so that I'm not potentially sticking pages together. And then I'm just running a little bit of glue along that fold line and then folding it back up and going back over that with the bone folder. Okay. So that's signature 3 done. And signature 4, we'll do the same thing. So I'll glue this one down. Take this little paper clip off and we'll glue that down. Run over that with the bone folder, a little bit of glue through the center, and run over that again with the bone folder. Okay. Now, the last one is here, and this one has not yet been completed, so we'll do that. So as I said before, it comes on a digital page and as a digital on a page, and I've just cut them out, fussy cut them out as best as I can. My fussy cutting is not perfect, and yours doesn't have to be either, because I'm just going to put some ink around the edge. Now, you don't have to do any inking if you do not like to ink. If you do not like the way inking looks, or you would like to do inking but you do not have any ink and you are looking for something to use, I do find these Tim Holtz Ranger inks good to use. However, they are not the only ones on the market. So I will put a link to this one, this particular colour that I have, but from there you should be able to find all the different colours available, and probably many other brands that you can get. So you can pick and choose what you would like. So what's the purpose of inking in this situation? Well, if you choose to ink, the reason I'm doing it is because if I just grab another small one, or another large one I might say, you will see this one hasn't been inked, and you can see when I put them both down on the page here, because this is white, you can see it, but it's a lot harder to see. But with the pink ink around it, it just highlights that edge a little bit. So that's why I've done it. And then to fold it, all I'm doing is I'm just going to put it so that the back side is facing up, and then I'm going to grab the bottom and I'm just going to fold it up until I've got about the depth of the pocket that I'd like to see, so about that. And I'm just going to fold that all the way along, give it a burnish with my bone folder, and then turn it over. Run some glue across the back. Place that down. Run over that with the bone folder. Run a little bit of glue through the middle. Go back over that with the bone folder. Wipe away any seepage, glue seepage that you have. Just like that. And there you go. So that's the fourth signature done for today. I'm just going to put the glue back in the pin back in my glue. Set that aside. And try to rub off some of the glue on my fingers, and I will give you a quick look at how these four signatures are starting to look. Now they're getting a chunkier appearance to them because they've all had the lace edges put on them, so they're getting a little bit thicker. They're becoming a bit more of a chunky monkey, and then when they are stitched into the spine, this is how they will look. Now you've got a bit of a colour difference between the white and the cream of the lace, but that's okay because the cream goes nicely with the colours in the signatures. So it is getting quite chunky, but I think it looks nice. Now, as for how much more there is to do with this journal, part 7, I think we will look at binding these signatures into the cover, and we will do a binding so that you can see the stitching on the outside, and then we might put a little bit of a lace thing over the edge here, maybe, I'm not sure. Part 8, we might look at making some tags and getting some writing papers and things to go in here. Writing papers as in a decorative piece of paper that we can use to journal on, tags that are big enough for writing on, so say a tag as big as this, and journaling cards and things to go in the pockets. And part 9, we will look at making a writing board to go in here and sit in either the front or the back pocket, and we will add a closure, and then we will look at doing a flip through. I might do, before I do the flip through, I might go back through and just add any other little embellishments and things to just dress it up that little bit more. I actually will probably put an eyelet somewhere up the top here and put a dangle. So there'll be a few things to go in this journal yet. Once we've done this journal, we will move on to making something else. We might look at doing some brad binding. We might look at doing some other ephemera making, and I might show you how to turn a gift bag into a little folder, which you can use as a journal or some kind of organizer or something you use at school or at work. But anyway, we'll continue on with this Shabby Pink Roses journal for another few episodes, and we'll play around with some new ideas after that. So I will leave a link in the description box below for all the things that I've used today. So the bone folder, the ink and the dauber, some fabric glue, and I'll see if I can find something for the lace and something for a link for the digital set that I used to get these paper doilies. And I think that's about it for now. So I'll leave the videos there. So if you liked this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that YouTube can send you notifications each time I upload new videos. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye.